What it is, Fallout fans, Piece of Grease here, and let's talk about power armor. In fact, let's talk about all of the power armor as it exists in Fallout 4, the vanilla game, the DLC, as well as Bethesda's paid mod Creation Club. Now, why would we include those? Because there are several sets that were actually in previous titles, such as Fallout 3 and New Vegas, so it's only natural we include them here. Now, I could sit here and read off the stats to every single one of these sets of power armor, but who really has the time for that or wants to listen to it? So what I've done is I've upgraded every single set of power armor we're talking about today to max and ranked them from worst to the absolute best. Now keep in mind, some of these power armors are literally only separated by a couple of points stat-wise, so some of these power armors are extremely close to one another. Now, with all of that being said, does the XO1 still is it still the reigning king as far as being the best power armor in the game, or has it been ousted? Well, spoiler, it has been ousted. By what? Well, you'll have to stay tuned for that. So let's talk about the first and the worst set of power armor in the game, and that is the standard Raider power armor. Now, it makes sense that this is the worst power armor in the game because it's kind of introductory power armor. So, yeah, it's kind of always going to be the worst power armor in the game, regardless. This has been upgraded to 2, or the welded, which is max for standard Raider power armor. And there is a legendary piece of Raider power armor called Tessa's Fist. This can be acquired from Tessa, obviously, at the Quincy Ruins. Moving on, we have to talk about the second to the worst, and that is the T45. Now, this is a sad day. The T45 is kind of the granddaddy OG power armor in Fallout, and I love it for that, but unfortunately, it just doesn't compare to other power armor as you begin to level up. So, this is where it falls. Now, there is a potential legendary chest piece you can get for the T45. I say potential because it can be for the T45 or the T51, which coincidentally we'll be talking about next. But this is the piezonucleic chest piece. And I say potentially because, well, depending on when you go to Cambridge Polymer Labs, which is where you get this chest piece from, by the way, well, nobody seems to have a straight answer as to which one you're going to get, the T45 or the T51 piezonucleic chest piece. Some people say it's based on your character level, others say it's just complete and total random chance. Although, I will say, in my very first playthrough, I was very low level, and I went to Cambridge Polymer Labs, and the piezonucleic chest piece I got was for T45. However, in this playthrough, I didn't go to Cambridge Polymer Labs until about level 80, and the piezonucleic chest piece I got was T51. Now, the T51 is definitely a step up from the standard Raider armor. It's a little bit better than the T45, which is why it's ranked third from the bottom here. Now, the piezonucleic chest piece, basically the legendary perk, is that when you're exposed to radiation, it increases your action point refresh speed. Now, there is another complete set of T51 legendary power armor, and that is the Nuka-Cola power armor. Now, the T51 Nuka-Cola power armor is going to be acquired from the Nuka World DLC. And the legendary perk for it is if you equip every single piece of this Nuka-Cola power armor on a single frame, you get +3 to agility. And let me tell you, that's pretty nice to have on a slow, clunky set of power armor. Now, the next set of power armor we're going to be talking about, fourth from the bottom, is going to be the Overboss Raider power armor. Now, this is going to be acquired, likewise, from Nuka World, and you get it pretty early on in that DLC, and there is actually a legendary chest piece you get with this as well, and that is going to be the Dynamo Overboss chest piece. And what does this do? Well, basically, it's going to deal energy damage to nearby enemies. Now, after that, we are going to be talking about the T60. Oh, how I love the T60, and I do mean that. I know some people say it shouldn't be in the game because of lore. I understand that. I do. I get the objections, but quite honestly, I love the T60. I do. Why, you may ask? Well, because quite honestly, I love the fact that it kind of pays an homage to the T45. There are so many similarities between the T45 and T60 that it looks like natural evolution of the T45. You can see like all of the bugs and kinks and problems being worked out with the T45 and it progressing into the T60. And I love that about the T60, if I'm honest. Now, the T60, yeah, it ranks pretty much above the standard Raider armor, the T45, the T51, and the Overboss power armor. Now, there are a couple of pieces of legendary T60 power armor. The first is going to be the Tesla, which consists of a chest piece and the left and right arms. This is going to be acquired from the headhunting quest. The other pieces, oh, and by the way, the Tesla pieces are identical stat-wise to the rest of the T60, standard T60 power armor. However, I cannot say the same thing about the other 4 pieces of legendary T60 power armor. These are all increased in stats in the damage resistance. 2 points to kinetic and 2 points to energy. So total, all 4 pieces, you're getting a boost to 8 points to your damage resistance in those 2 categories. So the first piece, as you can see here, is going to be the exemplars. And essentially what the exemplars is going to do is it's going to reduce your action point cost in bats by 10%. The next thing we have is honors the leg, and what this is going to do is actually increase your action point refresh speed. The 2 pieces of T60 legendary armor you don't see here, and that is because I didn't actually side with the Brotherhood of Steel in this playthrough. I did in my first one, however. But moving on to the other 2 pieces, we're talking about Vengeance, which is the legendary leg, and it's going to reflect 10% melee damage back at the attacker, and the Visionary Helmet, which is going to further increase your action point refresh speed. So as I said, all 4 of these pieces are going to boost your damage resistance in kinetic. This is going to be ballistic and melee, as well as your energy. So definitely good pieces to acquire. How do you acquire them? The Brotherhood of Steel. You must run the entire Brotherhood of Steel questline. If at any point you side with somebody else, besides the Minutemen, obviously, you could potentially make an enemy of the Brotherhood of Steel and lose out on acquiring those pieces of armor. Moving on from the T60, we've got to talk about the Captain Cosmos power armor. That's right, this one right here. The stats of it are identical to regular T60 power armor, so it's kind of tied in that same spot. Now, the Captain Cosmos paid mod in Creation Club, it's kind of fun. It adds a significant amount. You get a couple of weapons, nothing earth-shattering, but definitely fun. You get some player home decorations. You get a couple different paint schemes for the Captain Cosmos power armor. You also get a jumpsuit for your character that removes all fall damage. No, you heard me correctly. Unfortunately, you can't wear it under anything or over anything, sadly. You also get a new type of resource called Captain Cosmos boxes, which will start appearing in various locations, and you'll take them to the Captain Cosmos terminal, similar to a book return terminal, and kind of trade in X amount of boxes for whatever rewards you're looking for. In all, I think you get a lot for your money with this particular power armor, but it really comes down to whether you hate it or love it. If you're not a fan of it, I totally get that. I completely understand that. If you are a fan of it, well, then that's all that matters. Now, the whole kind of lore, basic idea behind this is the Mars Shot project was failing, so as a kind of a last-ditch effort to generate support, they took a set of this Captain Cosmos power armor and put it on one of Hubris's shows to kind of boost notoriety. Did it work? Actually, I don't recall, but I think it's kind of a fun quest, and it does seem to kind of fit in with some of the other stuff. Now, the next set of power armor we have to talk about is the power armor I absolutely hate the most, and I'll say why in a minute. Oh no! Oh, what happened to my horsepower armor? Oh my goodness! I am so distraught. My horsepower armor is gone. Actually, no, it's not. It's where it belongs, in the motherfucking trash can. Why do I say that? Well, because quite honestly, this is a very tactless, very tasteless attempt at a joke by Bethesda. It all centers around Elder Scrolls Oblivion. You heard me right. That old game from years and years and years ago. Bethesda attempted their first microtransaction in the form of horse armor. Of course, many players were not happy, understandably. So this is almost kind of a quasi middle finger to them, which I don't approve of. You want to know what it looks like? Well, picture somebody taking a bunch of Giddy Up Buttercup and gluing it onto a power armor. Done. You now have, yeah. Needless to say, the horsepower armor, it's got an interesting quest. Whoever the writer is, I think, did a good job. It's just a shame they were attached to the horsepower armor. I do believe the horsepower armor also increases your jump height and your sprint speed, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I even had it out of the trash can to look. And I'm not going to do that now. Unfortunately, yes, the horsepower armor is better than standard Raider armor. It's better than T45. It's better than T51. It's better than T60. It's better than Captain Cosmos. Yes. Sadly, it sucks, I know, but it's just the way it is. It's ranked, so there you go. The next set of power armor we're talking about, and we're whittling it down to the top 3 pieces of power armor. The first is X01. That's right. The X01 has fallen to 3rd spot. Now, don't get me wrong. If you don't have any DLC and you don't have any Creation Club paid mods, the X01 is still top-notch. Period. The end. However, if you decide to chip in for a couple of these Creation Clubs, yeah, the X01 kind of falls short. There is a legendary set of X01, and it's called the Quantum. Basically, equipping all of these pieces on a singular frame is going to further increase your action point refresh speed. Now, to gain this from the Nuka World DLC, it's just time consuming. It's not hard, it's just time consuming for you to get all these, motherboards or whatnot. But you can cheese it if you choose to. I still kind of think the quest is worth doing because it's fun, but that's entirely up to you what you decide to do. Stat-wise, the Quantum is identical to regular X01, no difference. It just has that legendary perk of increasing your action point refresh speed. That brings us to 2nd place, the Hellfire Power Armor. Now this does have some of its roots, I believe, in Fallout 3, maybe even Fallout New Vegas, which is why it's here. I definitely like the look of it better than the X01. Quite honestly, I despise the appearance aesthetically of the X01. I even hated it way back in Fallout 3. No, Fallout New Vegas was it. With the Gavin family armor was Enclave X01. I hated it back then. I hate it right now. I hate the way this looks. In fact, with no DLC and no paid mods, instead of the X01, I hate it enough that I actually run the T60 over the X01. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of it aesthetically. But the Hellfire is a different story. I really do like its appearance. And we're only talking about a few points stat-wise better than the X01, but there is one discrepancy. Interestingly enough, the Hellfire Power Armor, the helmet has the same health pool as the X01. The arms have the same health pool as the X01. The legs have the same health pool as the X01. But then we get to the chest piece. The chest piece only has a health pool of like 580, which in my opinion, I think this is a typo. I think the health pool was supposed to be 880, and somebody screwed up somewhere when this was introduced to the game. I think it needs to be fixed back up to 880 so that it's comparable to the X01 again, but the stats are still slightly better on the Hellfire Power Armor. Not to mention it looks a hell of a lot better. But with that being said, this little quest, I hesitate to call it a quest because I guess if anything it was kind of a fetch quest more than anything. I wouldn't even say it was that really, because there's really basically what you're told to do is go to this point, kill this enemy, and take the power armor. That's kind of where the problems start. First of all, the enemy never seems to take this power armor off. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time waiting around. Never seems to take it off. At least I couldn't see. So you're literally going to have to shoot up your brand spanking new Hellfire Power Armor that you just paid for, which I think is asinine to say the least, particularly coupled with the typo on the health pool for that chest piece. Furthermore, even if you decide to use your skills and sneak and pop the fusion core to eject the enemy out, you're penalized because it marks all of this pieces of power armor as stolen. Even if you take the Hellfire pieces off and put it on a new frame, it's still marked as stolen, which means if you get out of it in front of NPCs and hop back in it, it could potentially create some hostility. Needless to say, yeah, the whole quest is kind of buggered on this. And I hesitate to even call it a quest. I think they need to fix the typo on the health pool for the chest piece. And I think they need to fix it so that if you use your skills to acquire this, you're not penalized, you're rewarded. Again, my 2 cents on that. Now we got to talk about the new king. The king is dead, long live the king. And that is the X02. Just like the Hellfire Power Armor, it has its roots in previous Fallout titles. Moreover, the X02 exists in Fallout 3. The X02, bar none, is my absolute favorite power armor in all of Fallout history. I love this power armor. I just do. I just adore it. I always loved it way back years ago since Fallout 3, and I still love it to this day. It is definitely not only the top dog stat-wise, it's the top in aesthetics, in my opinion. Now, the quest actually gets right what Bethesda got wrong, and that is it introduces Enclave into Fallout 4. No, you heard me right. It introduces Enclave. Unfortunately, it's not the way you want or the way I want. There's no full-force, Enclave military faction. It's just some like undercover Enclave members in street clothes, and there's actually kind of like a superhero element to this quest as well. It's a heck of a lot. It's a heck of a lot of fun for this paid mod. I do enjoy it, and again, yeah, what can I say? It's definitely top dog. On top of that, you can actually equip Tesla coils to several pieces on top of another mod, so you're able to equip 2 different mods on this XO2 power armor, which no other power armor can do. Now, unfortunately, you'll notice that I do not have the Tesla coils equipped onto this because, again, there's a problem with this one, and that is when you equip the Tesla coils, the shoulders turn brown. No matter what color paint scheme you put on it, the shoulders are always brown, and it is annoying and frustrating that that's what happens. It's the same brown color as these wires you see here. It's awful. It should stay black, but it doesn't, sadly. So that is your ranking for all of the power armor. So it's the XO2, it's the Hellfire, it's the XO1, it's the T60 and Captain Cosmos. Oh, excuse me, no, let me forget the horse armor, obviously. Then the T60 and Captain Cosmos. Then it's the T51, then it's the T45, and finally, oh, I forgot about the Overboss, and then, of course, the Raider standard power armor. So that is pretty much all of the power armors and how they break down. Now, this is the Neon Flats paid mod. If you're interested in reviews on any of the other paid mods, let me know down in the comment section. But moreover, what is your favorite power armor in the game? DLC, vanilla game, or in the Creation Club paid mods? Let me know down in the comment section. I respond to everybody that does. And until next time, peace out.